This is where MAGA comes to talk. And, oh man, biggest gain on the Dow Jones in history in a single day. You think I want to have the phone lines filled with Democrats admitting they were wrong all week? Or are they going to go the way of the egg prices? Just ignore it. Welcome. If you're new to the program, make sure you subscribe. This is most definitely where MAGA comes to talk. And we got a lot to talk about, don't we? Oh, my goodness. It just gets better and better all the time. Non-stop winning. Endless winning. Yeah, good MAGA morning. Hey, Dan, welcome. No, I don't expect the Democrats will call in congratulating Trump for saving their stock market. Okay, just testing the phone. Welcome, everyone. Well, of course, we're going to start with Roy, $5 super sticker. Thank you. We're going to start with the stock market. That's the big story. No getting around that. The largest single day gain in history in the stock market. Now, you would think, because the Democrats have been obsessing over this the last couple of days, they've been so concerned about the market falling that it gained so much. You think they would, they would be grateful for Trump. Because they didn't care about the stock market. All they care about is trashing Trump because they're sick. He is brilliant. I mean, what he's doing, it's pretty obvious. I'm going to open with this, but he's isolating China. You know, he lifted the tariffs on the countries that are sitting negotiators, which is over 70, could be close to 100 by now, who knows. And he's isolating China. He's really creating an international coalition against China and their deceptive trade practices. It's pretty amazing what he's doing. And he did it in a way, people didn't even realize what he was doing. Right? It was kind of like a covert economic move, I guess is a good way to put it. The Villages in Florida. Yes. I'm in South Florida. And we'll be live on the air in about 6 minutes. Let's see what time. You told me what time to run. Yeah, we have got, 6 minutes. He exposed the exploiters, yeah. No, you see me pulling. Yeah, I've got my belt as tight as I can get it. I mean, I'm not going to buy clothes until I'm done losing weight. And I don't know when I'm going to be done, so. Maybe I'll buy some pants this weekend. Well, thank you, Real Chris. Oh, I gotta check one thing here. Hold on. When I get off the air today, I have to take my kittens to the vet. They're getting fixed today. Didn't want to do it, but we got to. I hate doing that, but it's happening. I'm just looking something up online over here, guys. Hold on. All right. A little less than 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes. Okay. Hey everyone, welcome to the stream. My name is Brian Craig. This is where manga comes to talk. And oh man, we got a lot to talk about. We've had the most historic gain in a single day in the history of the stock market. So I'm very curious to hear the Democrat reaction because they've been melting down on the phones over this all week long. We will be live on the air in 30 seconds. This is my first coffee of the day, so Even if I drink all of that, I've cut my coffee down in half already. All right, stand by. Welcome to the program, everyone. My name is Brian Craig. You are listening to Florida's longest running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977, celebrating 48 years on the radio. Okay, we've got a lot to cover today, but of course we're going to talk about the stock market. Yesterday, let's see here, what's the exact gain that we got yesterday? Yesterday, the Dow Jones Industrial Average gained 2,965 points, which is the largest single-day gain in the history of the market. Now today's show, this will be an interesting thing because it's Thursday already. Can you believe the week is flying by? It's Thursday already. So we've had 3 days this week of Democrats calling in a complete panic about the Dow Jones falling, the stock market dropping, 401ks dropping, retirements, all this stuff. They've been obsessed. They've been in a panic. So now that there's been record gains, they should be relieved and grateful, even these never-Trumpers, if they really cared about the stock market dropping, they should be very grateful that Donald Trump gave the single largest gains ever in the history of the market on one day. Now, I don't imagine we're going to hear that. It'll be kind of like the egg prices. They were griping about the prices of a dozen eggs. He took care of that, and they just stopped talking about egg prices. So they'll try to ignore the Dow Jones gains and everything, but it's there. And what President Trump is doing, and this is very obvious, I'm sure everyone's going to pick up on this. The left, because their whole reaction is based on no matter what event happens, how can we phrase this to be against Trump? And because of that, they don't see what's really going on. So all the countries that are sending negotiators to negotiate fair trade deals, and there's over 70 of them, it could be 100 by now, Trump lifted the tariffs so that they could have a negotiation, right? And that's what he did. But there's a bigger thing that he did. And the bigger thing that Trump has done, because at the same time, he raised the tariffs on China. And China's raised them on us, so there's a trade war with China. What he's done is isolated China from the world. And President Trump, without anyone realizing it, he knew what he was doing because he thinks 5-10 steps ahead of everyone else, okay? But what he's done is put together a coalition, an economic coalition of friendly countries led by the United States against China to break China's unfair trade practices. That's it. That's it. And China, who's completely out of control and very arrogant, may double down again and quadruple down and then quadruple down. Who knows? But they're not going to win. See, the thing with China, they're not an economic power. I know they say they're the second largest economy. We're the number one. But we are number one by so far. We're so far ahead of them. We're not even in the same league by even, like we're the pros. They're not even they're a street team compared to us, okay, if we're the pros. So they're no competition for us. And the entire Chinese economy is based around being able to sell their cheap goods to the largest consumer nation, which is the United States. And now that the largest consumer nation and the largest economy, the United States, is leading this international economic coalition and has isolated China, China's in trouble because we're going to deal with pretty much the rest of the world except for China. So what's China going to do? Well, hopefully they don't do what they did last time, right? We know what they did last time a few years ago. You never know with China. But I know with Trump, Trump knows exactly what it is he's doing. He's dealt with China before. He knows what they're capable of. He's been talking about China and the inequality with the trade practices for 40 years on American television. Back in his celebrity days, he would do interviews on Oprah, Rona Barrett, Sally Jesse Raphael, Phil Donahue, all the oldies. And he has been talking this way about China for 40 years. And now's it. That's it. He's doing it. And he did it. And it's absolutely amazing what he did yesterday. So your thoughts on that certainly are welcome. And Democrats, you are open to call in and credit Trump for his brilliance. Now, Jesse Waters last night, he opened his show. Let me play this because he was right on the money. This is Jesse Waters last night on Fox. Yeah, okay. Yeah, exactly. And they're completely isolated now. And here's the thing with China. Okay, all of these dictators around the world, it's about two things, power and the money, right? Gangster's paradise. But it's mainly about, these guys are under a lot of pressure financially. There's a lot of Chinese billionaires and millionaires and very, very powerful Chinese companies. And these guys are not going to sit around and lose and let this continue. So they're going to be putting a lot of pressure on the president of China, on the Chinese government to settle this, to come to some type of agreement. And, Trump's got two big negotiations here going on. China, that's going to happen. Or not yet because they're playing hardball, but we'll see. And Iran. And these are America's biggest enemies, China and Iran. And he's taking on both of them at the same time. But he understands, and this is how he's going to handle Iran too. Everything is about money. That's how he got Kim Jong-un to play ball in his first term. It's all about money. These guys, they have a lot of money. They're rich. They need the money to keep coming. They got a lot of wealthy, powerful influences in their country that want to stay wealthy. So they got to answer to those people. They've got countries to run. They need money for that. He knows exactly what it is that he's doing. So just like we had this largest single-day game yesterday, just sit back and relax. Trump knows exactly what it is he is doing. All right, now our number is toll-free. 1-888-465-2631. It's a toll-free call no matter where you are calling from. 888-465-2631. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Oh, hey, Brian. It's Joan in Tampa Bay this morning. How you doing?
All right, Joan. What's up?
I sent you a link earlier this morning, China Business, an email. They're flipping out. They have so much product that they can't ship because they can't make any money on it.
Yeah, and a lot of those, and I'll tell you something, a lot of those products are, sorry about that. A lot of those products are perishable. They'll rot and not be,
Yeah, all these businesses in China are going crazy because they can't even put people in the factory because they can't afford the tariff.
Mm-hmm.
He's bringing China to its knees.
That's right. That's right.
You know, the ban is unbelievable. Oh, and Schiff, he's saying Trump did insider trading. Don't even talk about that.
I know, that's his thing. He wants to launch an investigation into the Trump cabinet to see if they profited on the. if they own stocks, they profited because everything went up yesterday.
Yes, but the thing is, he posted on Truth Social, today is a good day to buy. So he told everybody, there's no insider trading with that.
Well, Schiff's getting even for that swipe that Trump called him watermelon neck the other day, remember? So he's getting even.
Oh, yeah, well, I don't know when he does that. He just calls it like it is. But,
yeah.
Like I said, I called him yesterday, and I said, I'm holding on to my stocks. I'm not selling. I'm not nothing. I'm just holding on. And you guys said, yeah, that's the thing to do. And now I'm back up again. So it don't matter to me,
Yeah, I know. This is awesome. This is awesome. China is completely isolated now. There may be regime change in China over this. It's possible.
I believe so. He's really bringing, because I did you see, I don't know if you got my email, but I emailed it to you, China Business Today.
It's best, let me tell you guys, I'll tell you this. It's best to just call me on the air because I will not click links in any email or DM. Okay? That's how you get hacked. I don't click any links.
Okay, well, that was just a YouTube link for China Business Today, and it had all of these manufacturing companies saying, like, they can't ship with the tariff.
Mm-hmm.
So the people are out of factories; they're not working.
Well, they have a large population over there that have to eat, right? So if they can't ship their goods, are they going to keep the manufacturing plants going endlessly?
Yeah, and it is an email link from YouTube, so I don't think it's a bad link.
I have a policy of not clicking links. It's very dangerous. If I click links that when people, I'm not saying you're trying to hack me, but that's how you get hacked. Remember Podesta with Hillary? He clicked a link in an email, and then they got into all the Hillary Clinton files.
Oh no, but this is just from an email
okay.
reporting for China Business.
Okay. Well, I appreciate it.
They have major areas where they have a lot of manufacturing plants, and there's nobody there.
Yeah, so they got a lot of people to take care of. They cannot afford to have their people out of work in all these plants.
Right. So if Xi thinks he's going to be, play hardball, well, we played hardball back, and
the Chinese millionaires and billionaires are not going to put up with this for too long. They're just not.
I don't think so.
Mm-mm.
And you know what? Trump's got the art of the deal going on. He is just...
Well, when he lifted these tariffs on all the countries that are negotiating, right, on everybody, he put together, without anyone realizing it, this incredible international economic coalition led by the United States against China. And it's absolutely amazing. Nobody even knew he was doing this. And he did it.
The man is a genius.
Mm-hmm. That's right. That's right. All right, Joan, good to talk to you. All right, take care. Now, if you're on hold, hang in there. We'll take our first break of this Thursday and be right back. I know, it's amazing. He is an absolute genius. There's no getting around it. Just an absolute genius. Okay, where is that? There we go. Just an absolute genius. If you're new, make sure that you subscribe. Now, starting over the weekend, which will kind of be Friday, I'm going to get back on my normal schedule because I've been so busy since I've gotten back from the cruise that I haven't been on YouTube as much this week, and a little behind on things. So I'll get back on schedule over the weekend. Well, those of you that are taking issue with me in the chat, the toll-free number to call in is pinned in the live chat. You're welcome to call in. It's toll-free number no matter where you're watching. All the calls are screenless. No, I'm not going to click her link or anybody else's link. I'm sorry, guys. That'd be crazy. Mm-mm. If you are on hold, stand by. I'm taking my kittens in to get fixed this morning after the show. I feel bad for the little guys, but it's got to be done. But like I said, you can always call me here. We'll be back live in 1 minute, so if you're on hold, hang in there. Two brothers from the same litter. Pepsi and Coca-Cola. They just won't stop spraying, so it's got to be done. All right, 30 seconds. Pepsi-Cola and Coca-Cola. That's their names. Here we go, 10 seconds. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Show. Thursday. I cannot believe it's Thursday already. Oh, man, this week has flown by. All right, our number is toll-free, 1-888-465-2631. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Brian. Jeff from Maine.
Hey, Jeff, what's up?
Hey, yesterday when we were talking about how Trump is just leveling the terrorists, leveling the money field with all these countries, and that China was going to be last, but they're going to come around. And now China's isolated, and the longer they hold out, the worse it's going to get for them. And Trump exactly knows what he's doing. The art of the deal is in play, and we're going to see America wealthy again.
Yeah, no. And he's taking out one of our two. We have two enemies in the world, China and Iran. He's going to get Iran under control real quick with this new thing that he's doing. And you could, if you listen to Trump yesterday talking about Iran, he says, I want Iran to be great. I want them to be successful. They just can't have a nuclear weapon. So
that was the most important statement he made, because they said if they ever had that bomb, they would take Israel out.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
that is the most important statement of all he said about Iran.
Yeah. And but what he's telling them is, you can be rich and successful, and I'll help you become rich and successful, but you just can't have a nuclear weapon. And that's, he knows that is the heart of all of these world leaders. They want to be rich more than anything.
Yeah. But it's not going to be at the expense of the United States anymore.
Mm-hmm. That's right. And China is, I'm telling you, we could very well see regime change in China over this.
I do believe that's going to happen. And did you hear what Pete Hegseth said down about the Panama Canal? China's going to fight that, I believe, somehow, but we're going to take over the Panama Canal as far as making sure nobody is... we built that. I don't believe Carter was right giving that back to them.
Well, he didn't give it back to Panama. We have 2 treaties with Panama in regards to them taking over control of the Panama Canal. And those treaties,
taking control.
yeah, and those treaties, which are ratified by the Senate, both of those treaties say that if they don't maintain security of the canal, that we can move in and take it over at any time, both of them. And it looks like Pete Hegseth might have come to an agreement with Panama to push China out without us having to invade. But if we got to send the army down there to take it, we'll take it.
You know, and one of the best things that's happening with President Trump and all of his cabinet picks is they're doing so much so fast that the news media and the Democrats can't keep up. When they start complaining about this, there's 5 other things that's happening at the same time, and they are dumbfounded.
Yeah.
They can't keep up with President Trump.
No.
It's just awesome to see a man that is for we the people. We the people are now back in charge. He is looking out for us, not the government, not Congress and all these lobbyists and special interests in other countries. And did you hear what he said about, I can't believe these presidents, all of these trade deals are because of the people that were sitting in this seat.
Yep.
And they are either stupid or they were involved. I can't remember the word he said, but they knew what was going on.
Yeah, they're corrupt. They were corrupt.
Corrupt, that's the word he said.
Yeah.
They were either ignorant, stupid, or corrupt.
Yeah.
And I believe he was sending them a message. He knows they're corrupt.
Why do you think they're all so rich? All the ex-presidents.
Oh, they're so rich because they've been selling out America, and those days are over. And isn't it just wonderful to have a president that is for us?
You know, it is wonderful, but it's also weird because we've never had that experience, have we? Even with Reagan. Reagan was great, but his whole focus was on the collapse of the Soviet Union for the most part. So we just have never had something exactly like this in our lifetime. It's just never happened.
And with J.D. Vance, I cannot believe how brilliant of a pick that was. I watched J.D. Vance. He is a very brilliant man, and he's learning from the best.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And we are so blessed to have those 2 men at the top of our country right now. And we need to keep praying for their safety and for the wisdom that they have to make America great again. We could see this go on for many decades.
You know, if you look at these, if you look back, like I'll give you an example. When George W. Bush became president, you know, he's a war criminal. We all know that now. And he put together a cabinet of warmongers, right? Donald Rumsfeld, Condoleezza Rice, Dick Cheney, you know, and if you know, hindsight's 20/20, but if you go back, when he put together that cabinet, he planned on going to war before he took the oath of office. Even, you know, long before, 9 months before 9/11, he knew we were going to war. That's why he put together a war cabinet. President Trump put together the most brilliant economic team in his cabinet in history. Millionaires, mostly billionaires, a lot of them self-made that are top in the financial fields, and they understand because what he's doing right now was his main priority, and he has the right people in the cabinet to do it. All right, Jeff.
Our future is so bright, Brian.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I'm so thankful for this show, and I've met so many good people. I mean, I wish I could meet you people in person.
Well,
but this is a
come
great
to Florida.
show, and we have great people. They're patriots, and I'd say God bless you all.
All right, take care, Jeff from Maine. That's right. We can always come to Florida, Jeff, or come on one of our cruises. You know, by the way, our next cruise next year in 2026, just to let you guys know, we're going to Antigua and a couple of other locations. The pricing on our next cruise is 2019 pricing in 2026. So if you call Ian I mean, I know it's pretty amazing. Now it's very low pricing, and I know a lot of you say, well, what's the exact price? Well, that varies on so many different things because there's so many types of different categories, and there's so many different perks that you can get or not get. There's a lot of options. So the exact price, I'm not hiding it from you, but it varies so much based on what type of cabin you get, what perks and bonuses you choose or don't choose. There's all kinds of things that factor into a cruise price. But It is 2019 pricing. We were able to get a very good deal from Celebrity Cruise Line, and call Ian from Cruise and Travel Depot and join us. This, I'm telling you, 2019 pricing on a 2026 cruise. It's a pretty good deal. Let me give you Ian's number. Hold on. I gotta look it up, because if I do it off the top of my head, I'll give you his private cell phone number, which he probably wouldn't mind. But let me give out his office number here. It is 561-244-5779. Call. You know, our cruise we just got back on filled up months before we left. Okay, and there's a lot of people already booked on this cruise because we had a waiting list. So the people that booked from our cruise last week got first dibs on cabins, and then we had our waiting list people. So it is filling up. 561-244-5779. 561-244-5779. Join us on our next MAGA cruise. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show. We'll be right back. We're free here. Drinks are included, absolutely. Oh yeah, I gotta play this because I'm very confused what that means. Yes, with our cruise, drinks, Wi-Fi, all that it's included. We don't do one of those things where, you know, you get a low price and then you get nickeled and dimed on board. A lot of cruise lines do that. If you're on hold, hang in there. This week has flown by. I cannot believe it is Thursday already. Okay. We'll be back in about 2 minutes. Yes. 2 minutes. All this winning. I know. Sick of winning yet? I'm not. You could never win enough. Make sure you subscribe if you're new, guys. Now, as I was talking earlier, over the weekend, I'll start getting back to my normal schedule here on YouTube. I've been overwhelmed since I got back after a week off, so I've not been on YouTube too much. And I'll start my podcast up tomorrow, Friday. It's one of those things when you when you take a vacation, sometimes you have a lot more work to do when you get back, right? In about 35 seconds. Welcome, everyone. Now, all of you trolls, you're very welcome to call in. The number's pinned in the live chat. Denmark. Did Denmark collaborate with the Nazis in the war? Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. You're listening to the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show, as we are celebrating President Trump giving us the greatest single-day gain in the history of the American stock market. That's amazing what he did yesterday, especially after the left and the media have been trying to cause this economic stock market crash all week, and then boom, to the moon yesterday. All right, so let's go back to the phones in this day of celebration. 1-888-465-2631. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian, this is Ty from Arizona. Man, good morning to you.
Hey, Ty, what's up?
Hey, man, I just wanted to say, man, I am loving what Trump is doing. It's like he's Robin Hood right now. He's taking from the rich, giving opportunity for the poor. This is awesome. I'm not tired of the winning.
No.
It's amazing.
No. And you know, this move that he made with China is so brilliant. You know, this is an economic war. You know, when you look at like I remember the Gulf War in '91, it took Bush 6 months to put together a coalition against Iraq after they invaded Kuwait. Trump, in like 48 hours, put together a community of nations that's over 70 nations strong, led by the United States, organized against China, that's now isolated from the world. It's amazing.
That's how you make a war without shooting a shot.
That's
without
correct.
Using a human life. That is amazing.
I know. Do you think? Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you, though, Brian. Man, I got to get to work just like Americans do, man. Thank you. I love your show. I'm hooked to it like coffee.
All right, take care. And I got to tell you, I've cut my coffee back to about 50%. I had my first sip of coffee right as I was going live today, and I'm getting used to it, and I'm feeling good. So this is great. And I was talking yesterday. I was feeling a little weird yesterday, and I realized the reason I was feeling weird is because my blood vessels were not ready to explode into a stroke, right? Because I'm not on the verge of a stroke while I'm on the air, I'm not used to feeling like that. I'm used to, I'm used to walking on the edge, living on the edge. All right, let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, this is Nick from Illinois. How's it going?
I'll let you know in a minute.
Oh, yeah? I hope you're doing all right.
I'm all right. It depends on the quality of your call.
Sorry?
It depends on the quality of your call, how well I'm doing.
Oh, I'm going to try to keep it as high quality as possible.
Okay.
That's possible. I heard the last caller say something about how he was happy that Donald Trump is taking from the rich and giving to the poor, and I thought that was really interesting. I was wondering if you agree with that.
No, I don't agree with what he said. Robin Hood was a thief. He was a highwayman. Well, first of all, he's a fictional character, but he didn't exist. But no, Robin Hood was a thief. I don't agree with that analogy, but you know, but the caller was trying to make a point. He you know, I understand the point he was trying to make.
No, yeah, I totally get it. I was just wondering if you thought that Trump is taking from the poor and giving to the rich, or Trump is taking from the rich and giving to the poor.
No, neither. He's taking from these thieves that have been exploiting and ripping off the American people and making America wealthy again.
So when you say taking from these thieves, who are you referring to?
Well, many of them are in the government. You know, Charles Schumer, who's worth $80 million, even though he's worked for the government his whole life, right?
Yeah,
you know, people like that, Biden. But a lot of them are people around the world, you know, Canada, the EU, the Clintons.
Do you think that foreign nations have been taking from us?
Absolutely, yeah. Our politicians have been selling America out to them.
So, do you think that the tariffs are positive for America?
Obviously. We've got about 100 countries that are banging down the doors of the White House to negotiate fair trade deals. So yeah, they seem to be working.
Just yesterday, Trump had to repeal all of the tariffs that he was
No, he
putting.
didn't. No, he didn't. No, he didn't.
Well, not all of them. He kept the one on China.
No. He didn't do anything like you just described. What he did was this. A coalition of at least 70, and the numbers increased by now. So I don't have any. None of us have the exact count of this moment, but it's approaching 100 nations are sending negotiators to the Trump administration to renegotiate the trade deals between our country and theirs. So he lifted the tariffs for 90 days on all of those countries to leave a window of negotiation while increasing them on China, because China is the big prize. He has put together an international... Yeah.
Do you agree with me that he lifted the tariffs for 90 days?
Well, he obviously did that, but not for the reason you stated.
Well, okay, so when he did place the tariffs, there was, I don't know if you care much about the stock market, but when he did place the tariffs, there was some of the highest volatility that we've seen since not even 2008, since not even COVID. It was
yeah,
worse.
And then yesterday we had the largest single-day gain in history.
And why do you think that was?
Because he got the entire world to come to the table.
Because he lifted the tariffs.
I don't know if you're dense or if you're just a liberal propagandist or you're just repeating what Rachel Maddow says on MSNBC.
I'm really not trying to be a propaganda. I'm trying to be totally honest with you. Do you think that the tariffs, do you think that Wall Street reacted positively or negatively to tariffs, and if so, why would they react?
It wasn't so much, it wasn't just the tariffs. Donald Trump he has gotten over 70 countries, because of the tariff threat, are now begging the Trump administration to come to the table. They're sending negotiation teams from around the world. Many of them are already in Washington. Many are on their way from every corner of the earth, except China, to negotiate new trade deals.
Why is that? Because a tariff hurts not just them, it hurts us too. It hurts everyone involved.
You're familiar with Trump's concept of the reciprocal tariff, right?
Oh my God, yeah.
Okay, explain.
Please explain to me what that is.
Why is there smile in your voice with it? It's simple. I'm not going to dance with you. I'm just going to tell you. Everybody in this audience knows, and you know too. If a country has a 50% tariff on U.S. goods, we're going to have a 50% tariff on their goods. If they have a 10% tariff, we'll have a 10% tariff. So what's wrong with that?
So are you familiar with the equation that they use to calculate the reciprocal tariffs?
Yeah, it's simple. If they have a 50% tariff, we're going to have a 50% tariff.
No, they're not tariffing us. That is a trade deficit. Their equation is literally our trade deficit
oh
with
my
that
goodness.
country.
Oh my goodness. Another college boy, another college kid here. Why? Listen. Some countries like Canada have tariffs over 300% on some products. Why is it okay for
Are you talking about the tariff on bread?
Some of the and some dairy. Some countries have. Excuse me. Some countries have 80% tariffs on things like Harley Davidsons in Thailand, as an example. So why is it okay for them to have high import taxes on our goods, but we can't have equal import taxes on theirs?
What we are reciprocally tariffing.
Let me ask you a question. I got a question for you. I've answered a bunch of questions. I've answered a bunch of your questions. What's the greatest country in the world?
I love America. My favorite country in the world. And that's why
No, hold on a second. I didn't ask you what country you love. I said, what's the greatest country in the world?
America is the greatest country in the world.
Why?
I love the nation I was born in.
Why?
Because we have the freedom of speech. We have the right to bear arms. We have the freedom of religion. We have free trade.
Okay, free trade. Now, what does excuse me? What does free trade mean?
Free trade is free trade capitalism, laissez-faire capitalism. We benefit, the consumers benefit, everyone benefits from being able to trade.
But if the EU, if the EU has if the EU, slow down, college boy.
Why are we tariffing coffee?
If the EU has a 65% tariff on Buicks, as an example, why should we not have a 65% tariff on BMWs or Jaguars?
Because it hurts our public. It hurts our people.
No, it doesn't hurt our public. If you raise the tariff to what their tariffs are, they'll lower theirs.
Okay, can I give you an example? I feel like we're kind of going around in circles.
Go ahead. I'm up against a break, so be quick.
In 2018, Trump placed a tariff on steel production coming from China, and the Fed actually did a study on it about a year later to see the impacts of it, and they found that in the industries that the tariff was supposed to protect, in the steel industry, it actually decreased employment and it decreased growth in America because of the effect of reciprocal.
Well, I don't know why. Why are we getting steel from China? We can produce steel here,
because it helps us. Because it
no, it doesn't. They make their steel is not as good as American steel.
But then why would we buy it for?
Because we have a bunch of stupid, sellout, corrupt politicians that have been selling the country out. Hey, listen, I got to run for a break, but I gotta.
Do you like free markets?
No, because they only go one way. It's free for them, not for us. I gotta run. But hey, listen, it's good talking to you. We'll talk again sometime. All right. All right. Take care. We'll be right back. Okay. Welcome. If you are new, make sure you subscribe, all right? What a great day. Are you kidding? I kept him on. I took the break late. I only let him go because it was break time. I don't mind people disagreeing with me. If I did, I wouldn't have screenless calls. That's right. Make sure you subscribe if you are new, guys. Welcome. Pamela, just subscribe. Welcome, Pamela. No, we're in a radio station commercial break. We'll be back in just over a minute. Trump's main target's China. Yeah, I know. Everything upsets Democrats. That's right. Stock market's down, they're upset. Stock market's up, they're upset. If you're on hold, hang in there. We'll be back in 20 seconds. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. You're listening to the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show, celebrating President Trump giving us the largest single-day gain in the history of the stock market yesterday. All right, let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, good morning. Good morning, Rich. This is Richie.
Hey, Richie.
Greatest day in the history of this country.
Oh, yeah.
I want to address this dumb college-educated fool that just called, okay? And I am calling you a fool because you just don't know what the hell you're talking about, even though you might even be an economic major. A tariff is put on the country, not on the person. So in other words, let's give an example. Bananas, okay? If there's a 35% tariff on a country that's sending us bananas, they got to pay that 35%. The assumption is that they're going to pass that increase on to us when we buy the bananas, but that's not true. Because if you see a banana's going up 35%, you say, I'm not going to buy those bananas. And guess what happens to those bananas?
They rot.
Yep. And then they can't sell the bananas. So what does the country that got taxed 35% do? They either don't send us the bananas, and then they lose the biggest market in the world. And that's why or the bananas rot and they don't. They're stuck.
Yeah.
So they don't want to do that because we are the biggest marketplace in the world. And that's what President Trump knows. He knows we consume 25% of the world's of everything.
That's right.
Why do you think that all these countries, except for China, which is really stuck now, why do you think all these countries are coming and running to the White House? Please, President Trump, don't do this to us.
Yeah, exactly.
And people don't realize another thing, okay? And this is the greatest thing in the world. Trump, we weren't in this position 2 weeks ago. President Trump, if he had said, by the way, right now he's charging everybody for these 90 days 10%. Before we were only 2%. And you know that 10% they're saying to our country, thank you. Please don't do any more. We got to negotiate. So for the next 3 months, we're getting 10%. Now, if he had done this prior to all this that went on, the stock market would have took a total dive. But what he did yesterday was, like you said, he asked for the highest thing, and then he goes down to the bottom. The stock market went crazy and went up like a...
What Trump always does is ask for at least 3 times what he really wants. Always.
Exactly. China is China, and he made China look like an idiot. China's on the outside looking in.
You know what's going on with China? It's almost like there's an international embargo against them. They're completely isolated. And if you
Trump did this.
Yeah.
Trump did this.
And
Trump is a genius.
And I'm telling you, these billionaires in China are not going to put up with this. There's tremendous power with those billionaires over there in China that they're putting on the government. And we very well could see regime change in China over this.
Well, the greatest president in the history of this country, the greatest negotiator, and the mud on the Democratic, he folded. He didn't fold at all. We weren't getting 10%, folks. from every country.
No.
We were getting 2%.
That's right.
So now now on top of him raising the tariff for 90 days, they're come running to him. Please don't do any more. We'll negotiate. This is genius in the White House, and people ought to realize that. And like I said, you don't have to buy those bananas if they raise them 35%.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You quit coffee. I love coffee. They raise coffee 35%. I won't buy the coffee. I'll suffer with withdrawals.
Yeah.
It's not like there's a gun to your head.
Well,
you got to buy it.
That's right. All right, Richie, I appreciate the call. And, Rich, everything. I agree with Richie. He made some points. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
I'm sorry.
You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yes. Hi, Brian. It's Laura. How are you?
Hey, Laura.
Hi. I just want to say about this college student. I don't know. Maybe he's not. Maybe he is.
No, I've just given him that nickname because what he says is just gobbledygook out of economic college textbooks.
Yeah. The thing is that he didn't take all the tariffs. It's everyone 10%. Europe, every country 10%. Yesterday, it was the deadline to go to 20%. So President Trump said, okay, because they came to the negotiation table, I didn't write like China did to United States. So I'm going to put a pause for 90 days. But every country on earth still has to pay 10%.
That's right.
And they're super happy,
That's right.
Because they thought it's going to be 20%. So no, he didn't take, because his argument was, oh, you see, he took all the tariffs out. No, there is still 10%.
Yeah.
For everyone.
That's exactly right.
So so there is 10%, and then it gives time because there's so many countries that they are coming, so he doesn't have time to negotiate quickly. So he gave 90 days, and everyone they're gonna come and or he takes off the 20%, or maybe he adds, depends on the negotiation of each country.
No, you're exactly correct. He gave them a reward for coming to the negotiation table. That's it.
Yeah.
And if they don't make good at the table, that it goes up.
Exactly.
Everybody knows this.
Everybody
knows this. Listen. The these liberals, right? You don't hear them complaining about egg prices anymore, do you? All they do is look for something that they can say it's negative about Trump. They have no credibility.
Exactly. I am tired. They always have something to say. You know what? No one even listens to them anymore.
That's true.
It's ridiculous.
All right. Well, I appreciate the call. Now, all this talk about the Dow Jones and what it's at today, what it was at yesterday, you don't want to live your life that way, right? If you don't want to live through stress, and you want to have a stress-free life when it comes to your retirement, you want to call Jupiter Joe Thomas. You want to get involved with annuities, because with annuities, your nest egg, your money is always safe, regardless of what happens in the stock market. A lot of you out there, you have 401ks, IRAs, stocks, bonds, mutual funds. There's all kinds of things people have. But you know what? None of them guarantee you an income stream for the rest of your life. Annuities do. So give Joe Thomas a call. He's offering free phone consultations, which you can take advantage of no matter where you are located. All right? He'll talk to you, ask you some questions, and then he's going to put together a custom proposal for you based on your situation, your needs, your goals. Give him a call, 561-743-0999. He's coming in studio soon, I think on tax day, which I think is a perfect day to have Jupiter Joe Thomas on the show. 561-743-0999. 561-743-0999. And if you missed the number, just get it off the website, jupiterjoe.com. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Dave from Detroit.
All right, speak up, Dave.
So you're telling the fact that this has been.
Yes, I am, exactly. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Jeff, up in northern Michigan, first-time caller, Steve. Brian.
Mm-hmm.
Good morning.
Welcome.
So I want to commend you. You handled a highly educated college boy very, very well. You had good patience. I think he might be reachable. He remained calm, and I think you might be able to reach him. And that's probably what we're all here for, trying to turn this country around, you know, and reach maybe one person at a time. And the way you explain what President Trump is doing to expose China and their unfair trade practices, all these decades, for decades. Like I said, he's really giving a master class.
Yeah.
Just amazing. I was watching all night, stayed up all night watching reruns because I missed part of it. Just
Yeah, it's pretty exciting, isn't it?
Young builders starting out.
Pretty exciting.
The Art of the Deal back when it came out.
Yeah, I don't know why. I don't know why everyone doesn't read The Art of the Deal. Everything that's going on right now is in The Art of the Deal. You just have to read it.
Yeah, but I can't remember. I'm going to pull it out of like a tote thing and read it again though. But it was Donald Trump was my idol back then as a developer. He was on the Rona Barrett, Phil Donahue. Who was the black guy that was pimping out Ophelia, the prostitute? The black guy, the real popular black guy talk show host back in the day.
I have no idea. He was pimping out somebody?
The one she was supposedly dating. Who was she dating supposedly?
I have no idea who you're talking about. Sounds interesting though.
The black talk show guy.
I don't know. Somebody knows.
Anyway.
There aren't that many of black. I mean, Arsenio Hall, but that he couldn't have been pimping somebody out.
Yeah. Arsenio. Well, no, not Arsenio Hall. The one that Ophelia was dating supposedly.
Who's Ophelia?
Who was he? The prostitute, Camellia Harris.
No. You're thinking of Montel Williams. He was dating Kamala Harris at one point.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
Montel
exactly.
Williams.
Yeah, it was a long time ago. Yeah. Can I tell you a brief history of steel? And you mentioned.
No, I don't have time.
China.
I'm up against the break. But I know this:
Okay,
American steel beat the Japs in the Second World War. I don't know why we're getting steel from China. We don't need Chinese steel.
You're right. I'm a builder, so I can tell you all about the quality of steel. And the Ford Rouge plant where my grandfather worked.
Our steel's the best. Listen, I'm out of time. I got to run, but thanks for the call. All right, welcome to the show. All right. 1 hour down, 2 to go. It's the Steve Kane Show. I'm Brian Craig. Back right after this. Welcome, everyone. If you are new, my name's Brian. This is where MAGA comes to talk. All right. I'll take some more calls when we get back. We're definitely celebrating because there's lots to celebrate, man. Lots to celebrate. Okay. Oh, gosh darn it. Okay. We'll be back in 1 minute. If you're on hold, stand by. 30 seconds. Hour number 2 has begun. My name is Brian Craig. You're listening to The Steve Kane Show. We're celebrating the incredible move by President Trump yesterday. We had the largest single-day gain because of President Trump in the history of the American stock market yesterday. China is isolated. President Trump has put together an international economic coalition of over 70 nations led by the United States against China that are all coming to the table to have reciprocal trade worldwide. It's an amazing thing. All right, so let's take some calls. People have strong opinions. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Mike, conservative Doug.
Hey, Doug.
You know, man, isn't it great? Look, oil prices are down all the way down to $60 a barrel now.
Yep.
Stock market's up. Who could not love President Trump? Man, oh man, I'm wondering what they're going to say now. They got to find something. What could they possibly?
Well,
say?
they're saying two things which are stupid. One, they're saying he caved. How did he cave when we have over 100% tariff on Chinese goods? How's that caving? And they got Shifty Schiff accusing the Trump administration of insider trading and market manipulations. It's bizarre.
Yeah, well, they got to try to come up with something. But I think by now, the majority of people all know these Democrats are just talk to say something, but mean that there's nothing they're saying that means anything. It's just some lot of nonsense because, man, anybody I think that has a half a brain got to say, man, this guy's doing what a fantastic job.
Now, that's true, but the problem is Democrats have not only, they don't have half a brain, they don't have quarter of a brain. Most of them are just mindless. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, my name's Bob. I'm from Tennessee.
All right, speak up, Bob from Tennessee.
I would like to preface this by saying that
Here we go, Mike.
I'm a complete Doge supporter and a complete Trump supporter.
But
Howard Stern's penis.
Yeah, see, there you go, Mike. Boom. Oh, my goodness. First dump of the day. So if you're on hold, hang in there. We'll wait for the delay to rebuild before we take calls. It's been a long time since I heard the name of Howard Stern from, thought the Baba Booey kind of died off. While we're waiting for the delay to rebuild, though, I want to play a soundbite. This, I'm a little confused by exactly what this means. This was Anderson Cooper on CNN with Bernie getting corrected on the pronouns of someone. Listen. She uses they, them pronouns. What does that? She's not transgender. She's a woman, right? What does that mean? She's no gender? How can you be no gender? They, them pronoun? Pronouns, this pronoun thing is out. I mean, it's like bell bottoms and parachute pants and fat laces, right? Well, fat laces may still be in. I don't know. They may be coming back. You never know in the world of hip hop. But I love it. I love it. So, there you have it. Now, Chris Matthews, and then we'll go back to the phones. The delay is re-engaged, but I want to play this. Chris Matthews, they brought him back to MSNBC. Okay, now what does Chris Matthews know about lumber? Do you think he ever goes to the Home Depot or Lowe's? And if you do, does he ever look to see where the 2x4s are coming from. I never really pay attention to that. I'm not a big lumber buyer, by the way. I'm not a carpenter. Either is he.
There's another thing. I watched on the evening news last night, one of the other networks, and I watched the issue of lumber. Now, you see, we get so much of our lumber, our 2x4s, from Canada. That's where we get it from. Canada. We get our newsprint from up there for newspapers. The fact is we get it.
Our newsprint? Really? There's so little newsprint today. We have to import newsprint?
What are we going to do? Have more lumber made in the United States now? What is our plan now? Oh, we're not going to import wood, so we're going to make more wood? We're going to create more wood? Is that it? I don't think we're in a position to simply replicate the imports coming into this country with our own products. It can't always be done. And I think wood's an example of that. Wood. Are we going to make more wood in this country because of our trade deal?
Oh my goodness. It's trees, okay? And we have all kinds of trees, and we have a huge lumber industry. What a bizarre thing. Now, the only reason I played that, they use him on MSNBC a lot now. And the only reason I share that is because I wanted to go back to 2008. And I know a lot of you will remember this, but a lot of you may not, okay, have been following politics back then. Chris Matthews is part of the MSNBC, NBC News team giving commentary after Barack Obama's first State of the Union, when he first became president. And his analysis, he said the most bizarre thing, speaking of wood, that really, this will be in his obituary when he goes. Listen. He felt a thrill up his leg. Now, but here's I know, isn't this something? So Chris Matthews, such a stereotypical liberal racist, becomes sexually aroused when a black man gives an articulate speech on television. That's basically what it is. And now he's obsessed with Canadian wood. He's got some issues over there. I don't know why they put him back on the air. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Daryl calling from Georgia.
Hey, Daryl.
Hey, Brian. It's really, really difficult to listen to the commie crap when they call you up on the phone trying to tell you what the Trump administration doing, and they're completely wrong. This guy that called you and wanted to argue you down about the tariffs, saying how the tariffs have been lifted when they haven't been lifted. There's a 10% baseline tariff that Scott Besson has said repeatedly that's still there. That tariff won't be lifted. That tariff is on there, and it's going to stay in place until President Trump sits down with those respective countries to go on ahead and debate what the new I'm not gonna call it tariff, but what the new rules will be. It's going to be called the new rules will be with regard to trade.
Yeah.
So that guy, and you tend to find that with leftists, they're know-it-alls, and almost invariably they're always wrong.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Listen, when you're talking about economics, that's Donald Trump's expertise.
Exactly.
I mean, come on.
And one of the things that really just burns my butt is when they want to talk about, and then they love to bring it up. Oh, he has 6 bankruptcies. That's a good thing. In my mind, because it has prepared him for this time right here.
Well, first off, those bankruptcies are corporate issues because of the Jersey Shore shutting down and all that. None of them are personal bankruptcies.
Yeah. And the thing about it is that this guy has an indomitable will. And that's what they really can't stand, because no matter what they throw against him, he just goes ahead and lets it bounce off him. That guy will go down as America's greatest president. Period.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he should get a Nobel Peace Prize in economics for what he's doing right now.
Exactly.
All right, good.
That's all I have, man. You have a good day.
All right, good to hear from you. Take care. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, Dave from Detroit. We got disconnected.
Yeah, just like now. All right, take care. All right. We'll be right back. We'll be back in 1 minute. If you're new, my name's Brian. This is where MAGA comes to talk. If you'd like to call in, the number is pinned in the live chat. We're in a radio station break right now. I'm glad you guys notice I've lost so much weight. Look at my neck. I mean, welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Show. You know, being on YouTube all the time, people see me, and it's nice. People have noticed how much weight I have lost. You can see, you know, on YouTube, but you don't see my full body too much. I'm a little bigger than a talking head. I show a little bit more than the talking heads on TV most of the time. But you can really see in my neck and face how much weight I've lost thanks to Coastal Weight Loss Secret. And it's just miraculous. It really is amazing. I've been talking a lot about it this week, that I'd never been on any type of weight loss program, weight loss plan, nothing really. I wasn't sure I could do it. I really wasn't. And not only did I achieve my goal, I am far beyond what my goal was. I only want to lose 25 pounds. Now, I stopped weighing myself a few weeks ago, and I'm just going by my appearance now. My pants are falling off, my shirts are baggy, and a lot of these shirts were, some of the shirts I've been wearing are like girdles. When I went on the cruise last week, I took some clothes that were years old. I haven't worn in a long time. I kept them in the closet or in a drawer because they were too tight, but they were fitting perfectly because I've lost so much weight. And you can do the same. Again, I'm not taking any medication. I'm not eating any funny foods, and I am doing zero exercise, which I want to highlight because who has time for exercise? Now, when you call Coastal Weight Loss Secret, make sure you tell them you heard about them on the True Oldies channel. Now, no matter what you want to lose, they can help you. 20 pounds, 150 pounds. They can help. Give them a call. 561-247-6300. 561-247-6300. That's 561-247-6300. And online, coastalweightlossecret.com. All right, of course, we're celebrating Trump's great economic victory in the stock market yesterday. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air. Once. I hear you.
Hello?
Yep, go ahead.
Hi, it's College Boy again.
It's one call per day.
Is it? I'm sorry. Could I?
No, it's one call. No. It's one call per day. So all right. That's one of the rules we have. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Brian. Listen.
Yeah, Greg.
I'm listening to the commentary, and it just shows you displaying of ignorance.
Mm-hmm.
You know, let me ask you a question. That gentleman, by the way, as soon as he makes some very articulate and important comments, you attack him personally. You call him a college boy. By the way, your whole family, your wife, I believe you and your daughter graduated college. But you attack him based because he may have been educated.
No,
So that's your motive.
no, that's not it. The reason. Slow down, Greg. Slow down. Now, I had a conversation with that guy.
And he's very intelligent.
on Monday, and we were talking, and he was going through his economic gobbledygook, and I said, and I said to him, I said, you sound like someone who's college educated, and he said, I am, and I said, how do you think I know you went to college? And he's
articulate.
Well, that's what his answer was, and I said, and he said, slow down, and he said intelligent. And I said, no. I said the reason I know is because when I was in college, I saw the same thing in my college economics 1101, 1102 textbooks that you're sharing.
Let me ask you a question. Why did you graduate college?
The reason I went to college is because I am I went to college a long time ago, but I went to college as an adult, but you become an adult at a young age. I was in my 20s when I went to college. I went to college because I am in a very unstable field, which I've well established myself and I'm secure now, but then I wasn't, at least not in my mind, and I just had a baby. And I went to school to get a degree in case this radio thing didn't work out. I could teach school to support my wife and baby.
Exactly. You went to college because it would improve your life. If this little gig you had didn't work out, you'd have something to fall back on and improve your life. Why did your daughter go to college? To improve her life. Why did your wife go to Florida State? To improve her life.
Yeah.
If he's articulate, you'd say college boy like it's a derogatory term.
It is.
No, you should say, listen.
A lot of people go to college and then they have no practical experience. Okay? So there's a difference. No, excuse me. When someone goes to medical school, they graduate medical school, they got the MD degree, but they're not doing surgery, right? They have to be an intern and a resident, do all that kind of stuff. They got to get real world practical experience before they're left alone on patients. And a lot of people have credentials without practical experience.
All right, let's get to a few solid points here without the college.
Like that caller.
You're so wrong. The market, he made a valid point, and you challenged him. The reason the market went up, by the way, it's still down overall since Trump's presidency. It's not been up. It just rebounded yesterday. And the
biggest single day gain in history. Biggest single gain. Hold on, Greg. Slow down. I lifted listen, Greg. I lifted the ban on you.
Go ahead, Brian.
I lifted the ban on you. Okay, because I think you contribute.
I appreciate it. I like that
I think you contribute. Okay, I don't care what IB says. He doesn't decide who's banned. So be respectful.
Absolutely.
Be respectful.
Okay.
Okay.
Let me ask you this question. In Trump's first 4 years, why didn't he address these tariffs like he's doing his second term?
Well, he started to do well. I'll tell you why. It's a good question. He started to a little bit. But when he came in his first term, he wasn't as prepared as he is today for anything. I mean, he was running for president for 2 years. He became president. He's talked about this a lot. He had a garbage cabinet. He didn't know who to pick for the right jobs. He didn't know anyone. He's better.
He was unqualified.
Not unqualified. No. Not unqualified. He's very qualified.
You said he wasn't prepared.
He wasn't as prepared as he is now. Because he has.
Listen, he had 4 years. He had a total.
No, and then he got sidetracked on something called COVID. Okay, for his whole last year. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. He's doing it now.
Okay. And let me ask you this question, okay? All right. First of all, this coalition you're talking about of 70 to 75 countries that are flying over, which they should all be here. If you fly, you're here in a few hours. Why do you think they're all going to come? Like, we're banning against China. China is the second most powerful country in the world. And you think this President Xi, he's a dictator. You're acting like they're a capitalist democracy.
No.
They're not. They are run by a dictator.
Yeah.
If you could name me one China company, name me one.
Disney they have a Chinese Disney company, right? There's a lot. I don't know the names of all the Temu. I don't know the names of all the Chinese company. I
said name me one. Not all of them.
Temu.
Who?
Temu.
Okay, Temu. Okay, you could have said probably TikTok too. All right. And
well, you said name one. I mean, I name one. That's not good enough.
You know what? Name me one.
Name you another one? Listen, I don't know the names. Greg, remember what I said? I lifted the ban. I lifted the ban. You got to let me talk.
Okay, but
all right?
I'm being respectful.
No, you're not. You're not letting me. Listen, I'm not here to be interrogated by you. I'm trying to have a conversation. China, you're correct, is not a free country. But there's a lot of Chinese big millionaires and billionaires. There are these Chinese-owned companies over there. The government holds a 51% stake in all companies in China. Okay, the government owns half of it. But the money people in China, there's a lot of Chinese billionaires. I don't know their names. I don't need to know their names. Okay, and no, it's a very secretive society. But they have a lot of juice over there, and they're not going to sit around and lose money for long, and they will put pressure on the government to make a deal. They've got factories, they've got factories making goods that they can't sell, and a lot of them are perishable goods that are going to rot.
What perishable goods do we
have? The foods. There's all kinds of food that comes out of China.
Perishable food.
All
we
kinds.
Don't get fruit from them.
No, but the world does. There are countries around the world do dog food, cat food.
Right, and China is not backing down. Listen, that president, he's a
well, listen, your China first policy and make China great again is not going to fly, Greg. I mean, I don't understand.
It's not going to fly, and you know what? Let me just bring up one real quick topic in a respectful fashion to you. Okay, Richie is he's got to get off his couch and do something because
he's retired.
He watches news. And
he's retired.
I know, but
he's an old man.
He'll do something. Okay, I know, and he must be he must be obese. But let's put it this way: he doesn't understand.
He must be obese. Why do you say that?
Why
do you say that?
In his voice.
You can hear that he's obese.
You said today you heard a caller smiling in his voice. How do you know he's smiling in his voice?
There's this in broadcasting. There's if you're recording a commercial, and you're a DJ and you want to sound happy, you smile while you're talking.
Right.
It's a phrase called smile in your voice.
I'll retract my obese comment. I apologize.
You're probably right. Hey, listen, that may be the one thing. I will say this, Greg. That may be the one thing you're right about.
Listen. when you're a store owner, Brian, okay, you have a company actually producing a product, okay, not a service, a product, which you don't know about producing products like selling them. But guess
You
what?
don't know what I know.
When you impose a tariff, okay, and let's say that sneaker you bought for $50, now it's going to cost you $70 because it gets passed on to the person that's purchasing. Tariffs just don't. The people over there in China or wherever, Vietnam, are going to raise their prices because now they have to pay a tariff. So instead of selling for 50, they have to sell it for 70.
No, and there's no, excuse me. We don't need to go through, again, economics 1101 here. We all know the business cycle. No, I don't agree with anything. The only thing I agree with that you've said today is Richie's probably obese, okay? Other than that, I don't agree with anything.
But you don't understand. The cost of tariffs, why doesn't Trump just say, why don't we have just 100% zero tariffs, period, and a free market economy?
He would like to have he would like to have next to zero tariffs on everything worldwide.
Well, why did he meet with these leaders before going off the cliff? And by the way,
they won't meet with it. China won't meet with us. Listen, Greg, he's making me rethink whether I should have lifted the ban. He was banned for a very good reason, and he called in randomly yesterday, and I said, oh, you know, whatever, because I think he contributes to the program, but if he won't stop talking, he's not contributing, because it's when there's more than one person talking, as a listener, all you're hearing is mud. You've got to take turns. All right, if you're on hold, hang in there. We'll take our bottom of the hour break already. Holy smokes, we're halfway through the show. We'll be right back. Okay. I don't know what that means, Victor. Can't help it if things are made in China. But these headphones I've had for years. I'm not sure where they're made. Doesn't say in here. No, these headphones are made in Germany. It says right there, made in Germany. Okay. I don't know if you can see it, but it says right there, made in Germany. No, not China. This microphone, I don't know where it's made. I bought this in '98. See if it says. It doesn't say. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show. We have passed the halfway mark. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian. This is Frank from New York.
Hey, Frank. What's up? All right, Frank.
I got a question for you from these libs. They protecting so much and worry about China. You know what I think? I think here is the solution. What is the only one section China doesn't give a shit?
Oh, my God. There we go. Second dump of the day, Mike. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. I wasn't expecting it from him. Oh, well, only 2 dumps today. That's okay. This has been the week of the dump with the people with the language. All right, our number 1-888-465-2631. If you're on hold, stand by. I got to wait for the delay to re-engage. I just want to say this about the liberal callers, okay? We enjoy liberals calling the program. If we didn't, we wouldn't do screenless calls. You know, all of the calls, because I know a lot of people are new, and new, you can be listening for 5 years and be considered new when this is the longest running radio show. But all of the calls are unvetted, screenless, meaning that when you call in, we just put you on hold and I take the call live on the air. And that's when we find out who you are and what you're going to talk about, okay? And we do that by design. We don't have to do that. We could have somebody screen the calls, okay? But we don't. And that's how we like doing the show. I think it makes the show more interesting. So we do like to talk to liberal callers. But a couple things. There's a couple different types of liberal callers that we've dealt with today. The second one's Greg 2 there, okay, who was banned. He called yesterday. I talked to him. I didn't even consult Steve with this. I probably should. And maybe I should reconsider, but lifted the ban because, hey, listen, I think he can contribute. But I'm not, excuse me, I'm not sure he's contributing too much today. You've got to slow down and take turns talking. Now, so far as the new chronic liberal that I gave a nickname to, College Boy, who even calls himself now, so he kind of likes that handle. Just because you don't convince me that your liberal ways are the right way, and then I disconnect the call at some point, doesn't mean that I'm running away from you. Every call ends in a hang-up. Okay, if I'm on a private phone conversation with my wife, one of us are eventually going to hang up. Every call must end. And if you notice with the liberal callers, unless they use foul language, I keep them on a long time. In fact, College Boy, I kept him up through the break. I said, hey, all right, I got to take a break. Even took the break a little late for him, okay? So now we do enjoy hearing from those who disagree. But it doesn't mean we're going to agree. And you got to just calm down a little bit, Greg, okay? Because I don't know. I don't know if you're adding too much to the program or not this week. That call was pretty weak. Now, before we get back to celebrating the economic gains, if you're on hold, hang in there. I wanted to share this, though, with Chuck Todd, talking about how the media were covering up Biden's mental health decline. This was on Piers Morgan's program, by the way. Okay, now, this is something they keep saying. Ronald Reagan was so with it at the end. I know they say he wasn't. That's true. There was a biography that came out. Morris wrote that biography of Ronald Reagan, and he was inside the White House, and he said that he had Alzheimer's and had shown decline and everything else. If you go back and watch Ronald Reagan in his last year, he did a ton of interviews. He was with it like Trump. So don't let them tell you, oh, yeah, we covered up for Reagan, so we covered up for Biden, too. No, there was nothing to cover up with Reagan. That guy that wrote that book claiming that was just a Reagan hater. Like most of these writers, they hate Republicans. Okay, and I'm not exactly sure what Chuck Todd's saying there. He's kind of all over the place. But we're starting to get from multiple members of the mainstream media, not just an admission that they covered up the cognitive decline of Biden, but they did it because they thought Trump was it was more dangerous to have Trump than to have someone with Alzheimer's reelected as the president of the United States with a nuclear football. And I'm glad they're doing this because at some point, we're going to get looking into that presidential pen and who was using it illegally. I cannot wait for that. All right, the delay, of course, is re-engaged. We'll try some more calls. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air. Once.
Hello?
Yes. All right, we're out of luck with you. Okay, we'll try again. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is Joe, and I'm from Washington.
All right. State or D.C.?
D.C., buddy.
Oh.
Wanted to ask you a question about the tariffs.
Okay.
Hold on, I gotta wipe my ass. I'll be back.
Oh, there you go. All right. Dump again. Dump again, Mike. Oh, my goodness. We're on a roll. Third dump today. Oh, my goodness. If you're on hold, hang in there. We'll just wait for the delay to rebuild. Isn't it amazing? We're going to hit that world record. I'm telling you, we are going to hit the world record for that. The radio show that uses the dump button for profanity more than any other. All right, 1-888-465-2631. Fine with me. You're on the air. What's your name?
It's Bob from Jupiter.
Hey, Jupiter, what's up?
Hey, I know you don't want to hear it because you get on me when I said it before a few months ago. But I'm in the medical field. These guys, Biden's neurologists, Biden's physicians, I mean, there's a whole team of guys. How come nobody ever hears from these guys? I mean, they're in hiding. And I would love to see Trump's people go after some of these guys. So you take an oath. When you're in the medical field, it's a serious thing. When you work with the president, I mean, keeping this guy, this puppet sitting there, it's treasonous. It really is, in my opinion. And I wish that everybody would get behind that and find out who these doctors are, because they're obviously tops in their field, and they lied to us.
Well, yeah, and they were involved in all kinds of illegal activities. They were hopping him full of drugs to cover up his decline. They were seeing illegal things happening. You're right. Yeah.
I mean, if nothing else, they should be dragged out and I mean, they're.
All right, there we go. All right, just almost one beat too long. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name is Kyle, and I'm from Long Island, New York.
All right, what's on your mind, Kyle from Long Island?
I just find these Democrat boomers hilarious because I'm 25 years old, and I when I was a senior in high school, that's when Trump was running in 2016. So I kind of grew up being a Trump fan, but because it baffles me because like I work now in the oil industry in the Gulf of Mexico, and I still work with a few guys that are like old school Democrats, and they just kind of like baffle me that.
Well, I gotta correct you. You work in the Gulf of what?
Oh no, you're right. No, yeah, fucking check me there.
Oh my God, there we go. Dump button again, Mike. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. It's time for a break anyway. So let me talk about Mike Lindell while we're waiting for the delay to rebuild again. Oh man. Oh, I gotta check this out. I just went to mypillow.com. Mike Lindell has a brand new energy drink. I'm not going to talk about it right now because I don't know anything about it, but I'm going to look into it. And there is a discount with our promo code Kane at checkout, but I'm going to most definitely be checking that out. Now, Mike Lindell, of course, that energy drink's looking good. Maybe it'd be a good replacement for my my coffee. We'll find out. I'll check it out today. If you go to mypillow.com, there's huge deals going on. Free shipping on all orders over $75 with our promo code Kane at checkout. The Giza Dream Sheets made of 100% Giza cotton, which is the finest cotton in the world. $40 off in all sizes. There's a whole bunch of new colors in those as well. And you know, the Giza cotton, because these sheets are 100% Giza cotton. Mike Lindell says that there's a lot of companies that advertise Giza sheets, but they're only like 10% Giza cotton. The MyPillow ones are 100% Giza cotton, and they keep your body the perfect temperature all night long throughout the entire year. If it's hot in the summer, you're perfectly cool. If it's cold in the winter, you're warm and toasty. I don't know why it does that, but it's the finest cotton in the world, and it does it. And you can get the Giza Dream Sheets for $40 off. And free shipping on orders over $75 site-wide with our promo code Kane at checkout, Kane. We'll take our last break of the second hour and be right back. Hey, Barry, it's Brian. Hey, hold on. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Show, and on the line from the Siegel Law Group, we have Attorney Barry Siegel. Attorney Barry Siegel, good morning.
Hey, Brian. Good morning. How are you?
Great. What do you have for us today?
Today, of course, we're a law firm that does estate planning. So we're in that, in the planning realm, and estate planning is not the only kind of planning that is important to do. People need to, of course, have a great estate plan, but they also need to have a plan for their taxes, for their insurance, the risks that we all have in life, and also a financial plan and investments. And all of those things are important. But within the umbrella of the estate planning, it's really important to plan ahead, not just for your estate and what's going to happen when you're no longer here with your assets, but you want to make sure there's still assets there when that time comes. You don't want to run out of money during your lifetime, and most people want to leave something behind if they anything they have behind to their loved ones. But if you lose it all during your lifetime because you didn't plan ahead for one of the risks that we all have, the cost of long-term care, then you may not be able to have an effective estate plan because you need to have assets to have one, right?
Yeah, that's true.
And of course, one of the ways to pay for it is long-term care insurance to pay for that care. And the other is the Medicaid that we do here at the Siegel Law Group. That's under the elder law part of our practice. And that helps people find a way to pay for the cost of long-term care using government benefits that you are entitled to. And most of you can qualify, even though you don't think they can. You most likely can. Just a little bit of planning ahead is all that's needed.
Yeah, and don't make the mistake of thinking you have too much money or too many assets. Let the Siegel Law Group look at your situation and make that determination, okay? Because when I went to your workshop recently in Boca, it's almost everybody, it seems to me, almost everybody would seem to qualify. And the Siegel Law Group can handle all of that for you. Now remember, it's always a no-charge consultation with the Siegel Law Group. If you mention you heard Attorney Barry Siegel on the program, and they can help you no matter where you are in the state of Florida. Here's the number, 855-FLA-3782. 855-FLA-3782. That's 855-FLA-3782. And online, SiegelLawGroup.com. All right, Attorney Barry Siegel will finish out the week tomorrow.
All right, thank you, Brian.
Okay, we are back. This has been a very interesting show so far, and we're more than halfway through. So I'm curious what happens over the next hour and 10 minutes or so with our callers, because if you notice, the United States yesterday had an incredible economic event. The largest single day gain in the history of the American stock market. I mean, think about that. That's huge. Huge. President Trump has this coalition of over 70 countries that have come together to negotiate these reciprocal trade deals with President Trump's administration, which is a great benefit to the United States. China is isolated. We very well could have regime change in China, okay, over this. And I've heard from liberals all morning long, okay? Not a single liberal that was happy. And, the left are often referred to as the Hate America First crowd, right? You're seeing it on display today. America had a great, great day yesterday. A great day yesterday. Okay? And they can't celebrate it. They're upset. And not only that, you even hear them rooting for China, don't you? Absolutely. You hear them rooting for China, and you hear them upset that America's winning. They are indeed the Hate America First crowd. Now, there's a couple stories. Before we go back to the phones, if you'd like to call in, please do. Our number is 1-888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. And I'd love to hear your thoughts on all of this. There's a couple stories I want to get to, though, that are unrelated before we go back to the phones. This one here, okay? This one has always been a personal disappointment of mine. This is in the Daily Mail. Famous hardline conservative who turned on Trump during first term reveals why she now loves him again. They're talking about Ann Coulter here. Let me just read a little bit of this. It's been a long and winding road, but Ann Coulter appears to be back on the Trump train. That's the word from a Tuesday tweet from the far-right conservative weeks after she expressed unease with the Trump's administration, blah, blah, blah. It's been about 10 years now, but she was a big never Trumper in the first campaign. in the first primary campaign. She was a big never Trumper. And if I remember correctly, Ann Coulter was backing Ted Cruz. Like, it's been 10 years, but I think she was backing Ted Cruz. And the Trump derangement syndrome was so strong then. Steve and I were friends, very good friends with a guy who was very close to Ann Coulter. In fact, so close to Ann Coulter that they set up a couple of interviews with Ann Coulter on this program for us. And he was a good guy. I haven't talked to him in 10 years. I'm sure he still is a good guy. I don't know if he's still connected with Ann Coulter or not. But he was then. And she was a never Trumper. And you really haven't heard from Ann Coulter too much in the last 10 years. Prior to becoming a never Trumper, she was the most sought-after conservative voice and guest on every program. Everyone was always talking about what Ann Coulter said, what Ann Coulter thought. She was even on The View. I mean, she was everywhere, okay? And she became a never Trumper, and boom, that was it. So, you know, my guess would be why she loves him now is, I don't know, does she have a new book out or coming out? You know, people don't care about Ann Coulter anymore. She betrayed us 10 years ago, and MAGA world have no time for never Trumpers. And, you know, not only that, I mean, I don't think people remember how big she was. She was the biggest commentator, period, in the country for years, conservative commentator. No one even came close. And on a dime, when she became a never Trumper in that first campaign, that was it. And every couple of years since then, she's had an attempt to come back, and this may be an attempt, but I don't care what Ann Coulter has to say. I'm not interested in Ann Coulter anymore. I used to love her, but you can't trust her anymore. I mean, you know, it's like Ron DeSantis. Ron DeSantis should look at Ann Coulter, and that's his future. Okay, they'll always still be out there, but no one's really interested in anything that they have to say. All right, let's go back to our phones. 1-888-465-2631. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? There you go. Boom. And it happened again. Today's one of those days. And that's the left. Trump's winning, America's winning, so that's what we're dealing with today. And if you're on hold, hang in there. Our number is 1-888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. I don't think we've ever quite had an experience like we've had today, right? Because usually what will happen when we're winning like this, right? When I say we're winning, it's either Trump or America. The liberals will usually just lie low, right? Right? But they're, you know, like when the egg prices got back to normal. But they're not doing that today. They can't control themselves. All right, let's try again. It's been one of those days. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Once.
Brian, good morning.
Oh, you just made it. Yeah, go ahead.
Good morning. This is John from Palm Coast. How are you?
All right, John. Oh, the liberals are losing their minds today on the phones.
The phone sounds a little on the weird side. I wasn't really sure if I was connected or not.
You're connected, John.
Okay. The only thing I wanted to mention was that you are absolutely correct. The Hate America First crowd always roots for the enemies of the United States. But something else is very important, too. It's vital to the left that Trump does not succeed. If you will remember back to COVID, President Trump sent that hospital ship into New York Harbor, and not one person was on that ship.
That's right.
Getting cured of COVID. Because if one person with COVID got on that ship and walked out healthy, it would make Trump look good, and the left just couldn't have
Well,
that.
it was a little bit more than that. There was, in fact, that hospital ship, I remember Rachel Maddow saying he won't be able to get that hospital ship to New York in time. They didn't even send anybody there for a stub toe.
That's correct. That's absolutely right.
Yeah.
So when Trump succeeds, the United States succeeds. When Trump fails, the left rejoices. Believe me. Brian, have a fantastic day and welcome back.
Absolutely. Well, it's good to be back, John. You know, listen. You know, I always tell you I'll never disagree with President Trump. The only thing I'll disagree with him on, which is more sarcasm than anything, because he does. I'll never get sick of winning. I mean, there's just no way to get sick of winning, and this is winning on a level that I don't think anyone. Tax day's coming up. They just found Doge. I may go over some of this in the next hour. They have found so much fraud with unemployment benefits, with people, and there are people receiving benefits that have birth dates that haven't even happened yet, right? I mean, that's how much fraud there is. They're not even trying to cover it up. They're not combing the cemeteries for names and dates. They just make everything up now, even if it's in the future. And, what's going on here with the American left, they keep saying in the pundit classes on television that the Democrats are taking the wrong side on all these 80-20 issues. These are not 80-20 issues. These are 98-2 issues. Everyone's against fraud, especially around tax time. When we see all the government waste, we see how we're being ripped off by these other countries in a way that we've never been ripped off before. And one of the and if you're on hold, stand by. We don't have too much time left before the top of the hour, so we'll get back to the calls after the top of the hour break, because we have just over a minute left until the top. And that's not enough time. Well, it might be enough time for some of the calls based on the quality of today's callers for the most part. That may, in fact, I may be able to go through the whole board before the next 1 minute with the quality of some of the calls we've had today. But no, hang in there. We will, Steve will be joining us, and we'll go to the calls after the top of the hour. But, the amount of fraud that's going on, and, Doge is finding all this domestic fraud. But these import taxes are also fraud from the federal government, that the federal government has brought us by selling us out. Everybody knows this. And in America, we like America to win. And you liberals out there that are rooting for China in a trade war with the United States, do you even hear yourselves? I don't think that you do. All right, it's the Steve Kane Show. My name's Brian Craig. Our number's toll-free, 1-888-465-2631, 888-465-2631. We'll be back after this. Hey, how's it going? All right, I'm going to put you on hold. I'll pick you back up. Hold on. All right, you there?
Yes, I am.
All right, hold on. Okay, we have about a minute, Steve.
Okay, that's good.
Oh. All right. Everybody can hear you on YouTube.
Well, that's exciting.
Yeah. Hold on 1 second. Wait. Okay. All right. 30 seconds. You there, Steve?
Yes, I am.
All right. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. Steve Kane is with us. What an exciting day, Steve.
Another glorious day on the Steve Kane Show, although it will be hard to match yesterday.
Well, the calls today have been very strange because, and today's Thursday, right? So we've had 3 days of liberals calling us very concerned about the stock market, that it was dropping, right? I mean, they've been concerned all week, right? They've been calling us, they've been begging, they've been pleading. Trump's got to do something to bring the market up. Yesterday, the stock market had the largest single-day gain in the history of the American stock market.
It was wild.
And they seem pissed off that he did it. So I don't understand. If for 3 days they're depressed that the stock market's dropping, why are they not calling us today celebrating that the stock market's up?
I have an answer to the question if you want it.
All right.
Because they're in a very strange position. They're in a you've heard of win-win situations?
Yeah.
Liberals are today in this country are in a lose-lose situation. If they win, they lose. If Trump triumphs and America wins, liberals will probably have another president as long as they exist.
Nah, I doubt that's going to happen anytime soon. You know, would President?
I wouldn't doubt it. They're on the ropes.
Oh, they're really on the ropes.
And let me ask you this: you mean to say you don't believe that if Trump is successful, as he appears to be on the verge of being successful, and he gets all his budgets through and everything is passed as planned, you don't think that the Democrats are finished as a party?
Oh, they're finished. Yes. Yeah. They're I misunderstood what you said then. No, they're pretty much finished right now because there's certain things that you celebrate, right? I don't know, how old is the stock market, man? It's old. It's old. To have the largest single day gain in history is a pretty fantastical thing. Wasn't just a big gain, the biggest single day gain in history of the stock market. And when something like that happens and you try to tell everyone it's a bad thing, you have no chance of regaining any credibility at all with anyone.
That's accurate.
Yeah. I mean, like I give you an example. When Obama got bin Laden, okay, there was a whole scam around that. But if we went on the air the next day and said it was it's so bad that they took out bin Laden, you sound like an idiot. It
shows that they don't care about the country. All they care about is their party and power.
Well, if they care about their party and power, this is not the way to preserve that.
Well, that's for sure.
And what I've heard, I've been talking to liberals since 6 a.m. today. They have all been at a different level of just anger. They're just angry. I mean, I guess they thought they were going to ride out. But I want to talk about, as opposed to these insignificant liberals that aren't players because they're out of power. Now, maybe I'm wrong on this because I haven't seen any of the analysis in the news or anything about this. But it seems to me what President Trump has done is he's put together this international economic coalition of nations that's over 70 strong. That, I don't know the exact number now of how many countries are sending delegations to negotiate the trade deals. But he gave the 10% across the board to all of them. So, and China's isolated. And the world is united behind Trump with this economic coalition that he put together without anybody realizing it just happened on a dime.
He's pulled off another of his famous Trump miracles.
Yeah.
Showing he is virtually infallible.
Yeah, really, truly. And China's incredibly isolated right now. And even though it's not a capitalist system, they've got a lot of business people over there that are billionaires. And they have plants that are manufacturing goods they can't sell. They're going to have warehouses overflowing soon if they don't already. The docks are going to be filled. The ships are going to be filled, and they can't ship them.
They have to be integrated into whatever emerges from this. But who would make that happen? I mean, you can't be a winner unless China is included. But he'll see what he's being polite to them and flattering them. That's what happens just before the axe falls.
I thought what he did yesterday, what President Trump said about Iran was interesting. So this weekend, the Trump administration, there's a negotiation that's going to start with Iran. And Trump said that he wants Iran to be great. They can have everything except a nuclear weapon. So what he's telling Iran is, you can be rich, you can be prosperous, you can have a great country, you just can't have a nuclear weapon. You can have anything else and do anything else. And what he means is it's all about money. Trump understands that these countries around the world, whether it's Iran or China or Kim Jong-un, all they really truly care about is money.
Well, in the case of Iran, what Trump showed yesterday, that he understands there's a difference between Iran, the leadership, the mullahs, who are the bad guys, and Iran, the people, who are good guys, who are oppressed by the Iranian government.
Yeah.
And what Trump's trying to do is create a revolution in Iran.
Well, yeah.
And to a degree, that's what's going on in Palestine.
Yeah. No, that's exactly right. And they probably will have another revolution in Iran. They probably will. And that'll be a good thing.
That's the end game.
Yeah. He knows exactly what he's doing. And America basically has two enemies in the world, China and Iran. And he's taken them both down. And I'm telling you, Steve, these Chinese billionaires are going to put so much pressure on the Chinese government to settle this. I was talking earlier, a lot of the things they make in China are perishable, including their, and a lot of that's medications. A lot of chemicals, that go into these things. A lot of medications are perishable. They have shelf lives. There's a lot of the goods that come out of China that are perishable, that aren't necessarily food items. Okay? And they're sitting on docks rotting. They can't afford to do this. These guys are losing millions of dollars a minute in China, and they're not going to put up with it. We could very well have regime change in China brought to us by Trump. It would not surprise me over this, because if the Chinese government is just trying to do an ego exercise, the Chinese billionaires, they're not into egos. They're into not losing millions of dollars a minute, right? And they'll only put up with it for so long. And all of these dictators around the world, whether it's China or Iran, they have financial interests that they gotta answer to. Now, I'll give out our number. It's 1-888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. We've not heard from a single liberal today who's anything but miserable, which I can't quite get because the stuff.
They're going to be miserable. The next big Rubicon that has to be passed here, though, is getting things settled in Iran to make sure that they don't get to a place where they got a usable weapon before we're ready to knock them off.
Yeah, and
Hopefully this weekend.
This thing with deporting these terrorist supporting students. I hear a lot of people, oh, that's a violation of the First Amendment. The other day I was talking about this, Steve. You weren't on with me then. But these foreign students and professors and people on all these different types of visas, whatever it is, I don't know. Some of them have anchor wives and stuff in the country, I don't know. They're advocating for Hamas. Hamas is a terrorist organization. And they're organizing for a terrorist organization, okay? There are other terrorist organizations that we are opposed to in America, right? And I can think of three. ISIS, Al-Qaeda, and I'll throw in a domestic one, the Ku Klux Klan. Those are three terrorist organizations. This idea that the liberals have, that the First Amendment gives you protections to organize for terrorist organizations, I've never heard this before, okay? If you or I were on the air advocating for ISIS, Al-Qaeda, or the Ku Klux Klan, it wouldn't take long for them to come after us, Steve. And we'd probably get arrested, as you should, okay, because they're terrorist organizations. But the left, they like the terrorist organization of Hamas because they kill Jews. And the left don't mind terrorist organizations that kill Jews. That's it. That's the reality of it. But what Trump's doing with this purge in the university, not just the deportations, but cutting off the money to these radical schools where they're allowing this should have happened 30 years ago, but it's happening now, so it's exciting. You don't have the right to come here and get a visa and then become a revolutionary for terrorists. That's crazy.
For sure.
That's crazy. Now, on our cruise, English Gary, I was talking to English Gary on the cruise. This blew me away, Steve. He had arthritis in his neck that is now gone thanks to Dr. Appleton and his laser away pain treatment. And, Dr. Appleton rid me of arthritis in my hand. And arthritis it's a pain that I can't describe, but it's the kind of pain that it'll make you cry. It's bad. I mean, it is bad pain. It is bad pain. And Gary had it in his neck. And, I can't think of really a worse place. There's no good place to have arthritis, but in the neck, that's a tough one, right? I mean, you got to move your head. You got to, it's just awful. But he has arthritis no more, thanks to Dr. Philip Appleton. His laser away pain treatment works, guys. Go see him. It works on every type of pain I've heard of. It is 100% painless. There's no shots, no injections, no downtime, and no appointments necessary. Walk-ins are welcome, even on Saturdays. Dr. Appleton performs all the laser treatments himself as well. Give him a call and say bye-bye to your pain like I've done 7 times, and how Gary has said bye-bye to his pain in his neck. 954-973-0710. 954-973-0710. That's 954-973-0710. And online, AppletonCairo.com. I'm Brian. Steve's here. We'll be right back. All right. Steve, you there?
Yes, I am.
Okay. 18. We'll be back in about 90 seconds.
Okay.
We'll take some calls. One minute. 20 seconds. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. Steve Kane is here. I've got an exciting day today, Steve, after the show. When I get off the air, I'm taking my kittens to get fixed. My two little male kittens, Pepsi and Coca-Cola. And the vet told me, I haven't had boy pets in years. I always get females. But these are rescue kittens, so, and they're cute and cuddly. But the vet told me that when you get male cats fixed, it's less invasive than female. It's easier on the cat. I don't know how it's easy to get your testicles snipped, but I'm feeling bad for the little guys.
Doesn't sound like fun.
No, my goodness, no. And I'm worried about the recovery. And they don't even put cones on them, on the boys, like you do with the, I guess, I don't know. It's just, it doesn't sound pleasant to me. I mean, I'd at least need an ice pack if I went through something like that. I don't know.
It sounds like worse for them than for you.
It's going to be worse for them than me, but I feel bad doing it. And I put it off for as long as I could, but they're spraying all over the place. So I can't take any of that anymore. All right. Our number is toll free 1-888-465-2631, 1-888-465-2631. What we've been talking about mainly today is, of course, the president's great economic victory yesterday, which is something that no one predicted. Jesse Waters, did you catch Jesse last night, Steve?
I did not, as a matter of fact.
Okay, yeah. Out of the Fox lineup, he's probably got the best show. But he's got something in common with Rush. Because if you guys remember, we all love Rush Limbaugh, okay? But if you listen to the first half hour of Rush, you got the whole show. Remember that? Yeah. So, and it's not a dig at Rush Limbaugh. We all love Rush. But with Jesse, if you catch the first segment, you got the whole thing, right? Especially if you get the opening monologue. But he started off in such a great way, Jesse Waters. He said, yesterday, Trump said, today is a good day to buy in the market. If you took his advice, you're rich. It's true. Could you imagine, Steve, if you would have laid down, $50,000 in the stock market yesterday? Oh, my goodness.
The time was right.
Oh, you'd be high-fiving today, He said, do it. So, it's just a simple thing of always betting on Trump. I mean, it's really amazing what he did, and I think he knew.
Well, the next big challenge is the next big thing is he's got to get the tax bill through.
Oh, that won't be a problem.
Well, you don't know. The reason I say that, the challenge is, of course, that Democrats are not going to cooperate with him. They would. They're finished.
Yeah, but we've got the majority by far. We've got the majority by far. You want to take some calls?
Sure.
All right, let's go. All right, let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Your favorite, Jay from Jersey.
Oh.
Wow. You're probably dizzy for all the spending you're doing. Let me see. You're saying that Trump saved everything. Trump saved the economy from him. Let me give an example. Trump set the house on fire, and because he dumped one bucket of water on the garbage can, that's all that was left out of the whole entire house, he thinks he's some hero. No, he's not. You can't lose.
Jay, I got one question for you. Jay, how do you spell loser?
Loser.
If that's what you are.
Loser.
A loser. I understand.
That's okay. But see, but that's where you would go when someone's telling you the truth. You can't handle the truth.
Oh.
Y'all sit around spinning.
Plagiarist.
He lost $6 trillion. You think he did something heroic? And then yesterday, y'all didn't want to talk about the stock market. Today, you're jumping, oh, look what he did. He lost $6 trillion. What about the $6 trillion?
Where? I don't know.
All over the world. Do you know the only reason he did this? The only reason he did this is because Japan and all the other companies were dumping U.S. bonds. And then everybody went to him and told him, no, you got to stop this. And he had to
this is so interesting. I don't know the guy's name, but there's some stock guy on Fox, okay? And he was on yesterday, and he just made this crap up about the bonds. And now everybody's regurgitating it.
No, come on. You've seen the stock market lost $6 trillion.
Yesterday,
you can't make it up just because the stock market went up.
Jay, yesterday, the stock market had the largest single-day gain in the stock market's history. Why aren't you celebrating
that? Do you realize it doesn't make up for all the mess that he made all across the world?
The single largest day gain in history.
But he messed up the whole world single-handedly. And now you trying to act like he's a hero.
All right, I appreciate the call. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. See what I mean? That's what I've been dealing with all day.
They see the writing on the wall.
And you know what they do too? They're hysterical. All the liberals, they're hysterical. They're all yelling like that, screaming, have a bunch of catchphrases.
They know what the situation is.
Yeah, yeah. You know, it's a funny thing because that guy on Fox that said that about the bonds, and within 5 minutes, that's all everyone's talking about are bonds. And now all of a sudden, they used to be worried about eggs, then they were worried about stocks, now they're worried about bonds. I mean, you know, what are they? You know, I just don't quite get it. I just don't quite get it. They don't like America winning, I guess is what it is, Steve. But no, this is going well. Now listen, the thing with China could take a long time. But I think he wants to, I don't know, I think he wants to break China because a lot of these countries are going to start saying, well, why don't you just move your factory here to South Korea or Indonesia or India? You know what I mean? He's really cutting China out of the mix of the world. And the world's pretty fed up with China. They really are. China doesn't have any allies. And that's one of their problems. Now, if you're on hold, stand by. We're coming up on our bottom of the hour break. So after the bottom of the hour, we'll take some more calls. Are there any happy liberals out there? I'm really. I mean, can't they at least pretend? That they, if you were upset that the stocks were down yesterday, you should be excited that they're up today. I don't know. All right, 1-888-465-2631. You're listening to the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. My name is Brian Craig. Steve Kane, of course, is here. It is Thursday morning already. I can't believe it. We'll take our break for the bottom of the hour, come back with more of your calls, looking for a happy liberal that's happy that America's winning. We'll be here till doomsday for that one. We'll be right back. Okay, Steve, you there? Steve, are you there? Yeah, I lost you here. Hold on. Okay, are you there, Steve?
Yes, I am.
All right, gotcha. See? I got you. All right, we're in the break. See, I told you I figured out the solution to our problem. That's what, in the future, that's what I'll do. Like I
Well,
lost.
we gotta get Lori in on it because Lori walked away.
No, we got it. You're all there. It's fine. You're fine. Oh my goodness. Okay, we'll be back shortly. You there, Steve?
Yes, I am.
All right, let's see. 30. Okay. 90 seconds. One minute, we'll be back. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. Steve Kane, of course, is here. This is the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show on the radio since 1977. You know, the free doorbell camera offer from Slomin's, if you've not taken advantage of this, listen up. This is an incredible deal. It will change your life. You know, getting a notification on your cell phone every time there's movement at your door, and you can see who's there, no matter where you are, whether you're indisposed at home or you're at Publix or the mall or you're traveling around the world, is a great convenience. It's security, but it's also convenience. I mean, imagine never having to get up again to look and see who's at the door, right? I love it. It's an awesome thing to have. And Slomin's will give you a doorbell camera that connects to your cell phone for free with the installation of your Slomin Shield. That's not all. Slomin's, they're going to give you a free customized home security system and professional installation when you use their low-cost central station monitoring. You get an LED touchscreen, a motion detector, 10 contacts, a lifetime warranty, and a backup battery. Plus, you'll receive a free doorbell camera with the installation of your Slomin Shield. I'm going to give you the number. This is the easiest number ever to remember. 1-800-ALARM-ME. 1-800-ALARM-ME. That's 1-800-ALARM-ME. All right. So before we go back to the phones, just recap. So what happened yesterday is over 70 countries around the world contacted the White House and are sending teams to negotiate the reciprocal trade deals. So Trump gave an across-the-board 10%. Now, the media are trying to characterize this as caving. It is not only is it not caving, some of these countries were paying less than that in tariffs before, right?
If I might make a suggestion, I think that's, in terms of the show we're doing this morning, I think that's all water under the bridge. I think the next big thing we got to focus on is getting the budget passed, because without the budget passed, it means nothing.
That's going to pass. The Democrats are the minority. We got that.
It's not the Democrats that are the problem, it's the Republicans that are the problem.
Let me tell you, if there's a Republican in Congress that stands up and does some filibuster or pulls some act to stop the budget.
Morning, it's not just one Republican. It's a whole group of Republicans that are in rebellion about this. Now, they can be turned around in theory, but it's going to be a major job because it's not just one or two.
I don't see how he wouldn't get it passed.
Well, that's because you and I think rationally, and these other people, Trump called it grandstanding.
Grandstanding.
That's what they do. They grandstand. There are not enough cuts.
Not enough
so meanwhile,
cuts.
They're going to try to stick us with a cut that's
not enough cuts.
The thighs.
They've cut $50 quadrillion with Doge in the last few weeks.
No, but that's not figured. That's not. They can't use that figure yet.
Why not?
I'm telling you, that's the problem. That's what all day this is going to be about.
Well, a lot of the older Republicans were part of the thievery going on. So that they don't want to be cooperative. I get that.
But that's the thing. And Chip Roy and his gang.
Oh yeah. Well, that's okay. Their names go on a list, and we'll remember them. That's it. That's what primaries are for. There's a lot of people getting themselves put on the primaried out list.
But I mean, it's a formidable challenge. We shouldn't take it lightly.
Yep. All right, well, let's take some of these calls, Steve. Let's see if we can raise the bar on the quality of callers. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, good morning, Brian. This is Nick out of Miller's Island.
Hey, Nicholas.
Hey, good morning. Hey, Steve, good morning. I'm sorry, but it's good to hear you on the air, and I'm glad you guys are back and had a good time on that cruise. Wish I could have gone. I wanted to mention something with all these dumb liberals calling and giving you guys a rough time, sort of. I have these apps on my iPad from the local TV stations, and one in particular, when all this stuff was coming with the stock market going up, the headline was Trump pauses tariffs and the stock market goes up. They don't tell you the complete story. See how they slant everything, even on the local news.
Yeah.
And it's really sickening. Everything negative a negative spin they can put on President Trump's policies, that's what they do. And it really aggravates me to no end. Because the truth is, yeah, he paused the tariffs in some cases, but that's because these countries came forth and wanted to negotiate.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, what he's done is amazing. And I know today people will talk about how China's isolated. He brought regime change to Canada with just a post on Truth Social, right? Mm-hmm. And I do think it's possible that we may have regime change in China over this. There's too much money on the line.
Well, they're coming to the table too, guys. They're coming to the table too. They're gonna negotiate. And I don't watch MSNBC or any of those. I mean, I listen to you guys. You play the clips, but with these callers today. You know, the liberals are unhinged.
Yeah, they are.
It's really ridiculous. I mean, my 401k is gone up. Actually gone up. It's actually the same. It's stayed stable. Actually, it's gone up a little bit. But
yeah,
you know, the thing is,
we just have to get past the last hurdle, which is going to be a budget deal signed, and hopefully that'll happen. Listen, I thank you for calling. We're going to move on to the next call.
You know, but I tell you, Steve, you know, someplace where I think you're a little wrong here on this is I think the word's out that if you're a Republican, you don't oppose Trump. Trump's in a position now where he gets everything he wants.
I think you're going to take that back tomorrow.
You think so?
Yep.
Okay.
I think they're going to put. I didn't say he's not going to win in the end.
Yes.
But I've learned not to say that. He always wins in the end.
Yes.
But it's going to be a bloody fight.
Oh, you mean it might not be on a dime? They may have to talk to some people.
It's going to be the big issue today.
Well, yeah, I'm not saying.
We're going to be talking about it all day tomorrow.
I'm not saying there may not be some negotiations, but he'll get it in the end. Yeah. There's nothing to worry about. It's a little weird because we've never been in a winning position like this as Republicans. Any Republican leader we've ever had has always had to get involved in negotiations and give and take and try to put together some coalition that's bipartisan, and but that's not how things are working now. And a lot of the people like you're talking about, they don't accept the new way of things. And the new way of things is Trump gets what he wants, and he has the American people behind him. By the way, did you see that?
That's today's battle.
Did you see that big drug bust with Pam Bondi and Kash Patel yesterday?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, they had a big drug bust at our port where we came back from, Port Everglades. That's where we came back from our cruise on.
No kidding.
Yeah, huge drug bust, like $500 million. All right, let's see what else we got here on the phones. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Hey, good morning, Brother Brian. It's Steve. Just for the Jay from Jersey, one would think that if he had a 401k and you're up about 3 or 4% in one day, not in a year, you think you'd be happy and jumping for joy. But he's worried about the people around the world losing their money and upset about it. How funny is that? He reminds me of like the male Wheezy. He's like, to me, when I hear him, he's like the male Wheezy. What do you think?
The male Wheezy? Yeah.
Yeah, remember the way he talks, the anger, the frustration, the voice is like, oh my goodness.
He's just got a fatal case of Trump derangement syndrome.
See,
that's all.
Yeah,
all the Democrats that called in, it's like you take the little kid into the ice cream parlor. There's no chocolate. The guy goes, we only have strawberry and vanilla until tomorrow. The chocolate will come in. The kid wants to go on the ground and scream and pander. The frustration. They don't know what to do. Instead of being rational and choose one of the other two and get the chocolate tomorrow, they don't know what to do with that frustration.
I don't know about the chocolate or the Neapolitan or pistachio, but I know this, that if you want to have some credibility, okay, when there's something positive happening, like the largest single-day gain in the history of the stock market, you don't try to convince people it's a bad thing. Or how do you like what Adam Schiff is doing, Steve? He wants to investigate the Trump administration to find out if they did insider trading. I mean, that's just stupid.
Yeah,
that's just
everything Adam Schiff said last night. It goes beyond any kind of logic. They have to puff their chest and show face. They have to show face. They cannot hide. But here's why I called in. I'm sorry to be redundant, but when I say Trump was biblically sent, he's been prophesied, and God will use someone to smite thee that is evil upon the earth. Now we're going to get the Houthis. We got the cartels. They're on the run. We're gonna deport all these people in the colleges that shouldn't be here, trying to rile things up. They're gonna get the Hamas guys. They're gonna get Al Shabaab and all of them, because God is gonna take care of this through the sword. The sword is Trump.
From your lips to God's ears.
Where, by the way, I'm not disagreeing with you, but you said Trump was prophesized. Where?
You've heard me say that many times, And my answer to you was, it was on a radio show back like in 2015 when I heard it, and I can't remember where, and I wish I could quote where I heard it from. But the fact that he turned his head and the bullet missed him, it shows that God was leading him through all of the way. And many people have talked about God putting the hand on Trump's shoulder or head or what have you. And because we need.
Okay,
we need
appreciate
him right now.
appreciate the call. Okay, I'm sorry I asked. I was well when he said I was curious. I wanted to know where. Where was he prophesied? All right, now if you're on hold, hang in there, guys. My name's Brian Craig. Steve Kane, of course, is here. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. We'll take our last break of this Thursday morning and be right back. Hey there, hold on. Steve, you there?
Yes, I am.
All right, I'm going to conference William in a minute. I'm just waiting to get a time. Okay. All right, William, hold on. We're not back yet. Stand by.
Okay.
All right, 20 seconds. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig, Steve Kane here, and from the offices of William Youngerman Incorporated in Boca, William Youngerman with the Morning Gold and Precious Metals Report. William Youngerman, how the metals looking?
Well, Brian, it's hard to imagine financial times being more exciting than they were yesterday, and that was seen in all of the markets, both the precious metals and, of course, the stock markets. Yesterday, we saw gold trade in a range of $3,039 all the way up to $3,101 the ounce. Closing out the day, up $99.30 at $3,082 the ounce. Silver recovering $1.21, up $1.21 to $31. Platinum was up $15 at $9.31, and palladium was up $23 at $909. That on the heels of the stock market rallying almost 3,000 points yesterday.
Wow.
The market this morning, overnight, we saw gold trade in a range of $3,104 all the way up to $3,135, at one point being up another $53. Right now, we're up $36 at $3,118 the ounce, coming very quickly back to those all-time record highs of around $3,165. So we are just moments away, practically, from possibly making all new highs in the precious metal, at least in the gold market. Silver down 19 cents right now at $30.80. Platinum is up $4 at $935, and palladium is down $5 at $904. The U.S. dollar is down dramatically this morning, and certainly that is seen in the price of gold also, as gold, as I said, is up $36 at $3,118 the ounce. So, the exciting times in the precious metals, and as we've been saying all along, you have to buy those dips. And we had a beautiful dip last week and the first part of on Monday, but this is being buoyed up very quickly by the uncertainty in the markets that we are seeing around the world.
Absolutely. And remember, no matter where you're located, you can do your transactions with William Youngerman over the phone and through the mail, okay? His number, he opens up at 10 a.m., 1-800-327-5010, 1-800-327-5010. You can stop in at 150 East Palmetto Park Road in Boca on the first floor of the Bank of America building, just east of US 1 Federal Highway on the south side of Palmetto Park Road. And you can find both William Youngerman's address and phone number online at williamyoungerman.com. And remember, all the metals are available for immediate delivery with William Youngerman. All right, William Youngerman, great days ahead for the metals. We'll finish out the week tomorrow.
Okay, have a great day.
All right, take care. Oh, man, did you hear that, Steve? Over 3,100? I mean, my goodness. It's even hard to believe these numbers are real. I mean, they're so high. It's crazy. All right. Our number 1-888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. You know, I also think Trump's going to win with Iran. Yeah, I think Iran's actually going to deal with him. They really are. It may not look that way in the beginning.
Well,
but
what do you think of when you were saying Iran's going to deal with them? What do you think? What do you think Iran's going to do?
They're going to.
I mean, you know what Trump's asking for, right?
What's he asking for?
He's asking for unlimited access to all their nuclear facilities.
Yeah, he'll get it. He'll get it. Because he will put a 100% embargo on them. And he said this, they have a country to run. He almost had them completely bankrupt in his first term. And he wasn't as powerful then as he is now. Trump has more power now than he's ever had. He'll bankrupt them, and they don't want that. All right, let's see here. Let's look for some liberals on the line that are celebrating the economic boom. You're on a stock market's up, gold's through the roof, Steve. I mean, it doesn't get better than this. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yes, hi. My name is Ben. I'm actually calling from Canada.
Oh, welcome, Canada.
First time watching your show. Obviously, first time caller as well.
Welcome.
I'm more like just an observer from the sidelines, being up here and just seeing.
When are you guys going to get on board?
I bet you're Canadian MAGA. You love Trump, don't you, caller?
I'm on the fence. Like I don't hate him. I don't love him. You know, he gets things done. You can't argue there.
That's for sure.
You know, just you know, we talk, my coworkers, friends, and it's a wide and very eclectic range of people from different professions and fields, from production and construction to, right up to federal workers.
Well, Canada is one of the countries that caved with Trump yesterday. This weirdo, your new prime minister, this weirdo Connie, he
wasn't even elected. He was just selected. So
exactly.
It's hard to accept.
I know.
This leadership that we do have.
Well, you're not a free country in Canada. You're governed by an unelected man. I mean, it's scary.
Oh, it really is. Our electoral system works a little different.
Well, let me tell you something. Canada's going to be fine because Trump is president of the United States. We're going to be booming, and you border us, so you're going to benefit. So Canada's going to be fine in spite of this weirdo that was anointed your leader. Hey, appreciate the call. Welcome to the show, by the way. Thank you. All right. Yeah, Canada. That Connie, he was like one of the first, Steve. He was talking all tough. And he was one of the first to cave, was Connie in Canada. It's I don't know. Isn't it nice being with the number one country, with the number one leader?
It's nice being with Trump. I'll tell you
it
that.
isn't it? And just winning, I mean, but I was telling people, Steve, this. A lot of MAGA people that are impatient and complain. There will never be another time like we're experiencing right now because there's never going to be another Trump. So all this winning that we're enjoying right now, it's not that we're not going to have good times in the future. There will never be a president like this where we're winning this much.
Once he accomplished, let me ask you this. Because I'm always forward thinking. I'm always figuring out what the next story is going to be. You do understand that after he pulls all this off in his present term, you understand they're going to make arrangements for him to be able to serve a final term. You know that.
Yeah, wouldn't that be nice?
It's going to happen.
I at first I thought that was a joke, like Trump was troll. Now I think it's real. It's real.
After he pulls off everything he's promised,
yeah.
Who else would they want to turn it over to?
Exactly. Well, I got to tell you another thing that's true. I have lost a ton of weight. I mean, Steve, I have lost so much weight. And the other day I was looking at some of my videos on YouTube from about 6 months ago. I did not realize how much weight I had gained. My face was basically puffy and round. And now I've got square jaw back and everything else. This is awesome. I weigh less now than when my daughter was born and came home from the hospital. And she's 26 years old now. That's absolutely amazing. Maybe on the next cruise, Steve, I'll wear the suit that I got married in. If it still fits, it might be too baggy. This could be my 29th wedding anniversary this year. And think about that. I'm at pretty much where I was 29 years ago in weight, almost. It's that good. And Coastal Weight Loss Secret, it works. And I'm not eating weird food. I'm eating things I would normally eat. Wings Plus. Places like that. I'm not eating any weird meals. I'm eating what I want to eat. I'm not taking any medication. And I'm not doing any exercise. The only thing that I'm running is my mouth, okay? And it's going to stay that way. So, listen, if you want to lose weight, give Coastal Weight Loss Secret a call. If you want to lose 20 pounds, 50 pounds, 100 pounds, even more, they can help. I'm going to give you the number. When you call, make sure you tell them you heard about them on the True Oldies channel. 561-247-6300. 561-247-6300. That's 561-247-6300. And online, coastalweightlosssecret.com. All right. Steve, also, yesterday, James Carville was saying, he gave an interview, and he said Trump's going to declare martial law for the midterms. And I took that as the Democrat internal polls are telling them they don't expect to win the midterms, that James Carville is doing some foreshadowing for them to lose. I mean, this is a whole new world we're in. All right, let's take some more of these calls. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Brian from Deerfield.
Hey, Brian.
Hey, Brian. Hi, Steve. How are you today? Well, I tell you what, we're witnessing all these brilliant financial and tactical moves, and I agree, we're never going to see a mover and shaker like Trump again. Did any of you hear anything about a rumor that we may have some type of access to the Bagram Air Base that we gave up?
It's a funny thing you say that, because, I did hear something about that, but I wasn't sure if that was real or just something somebody tweeted.
Well, I heard it about, I think maybe it was on the background because I was busy yesterday. I think it was on Newsmax about some type of meeting that went through and that some type of negotiations may be underway at maybe a low level. Can you imagine that?
Between who and
we got access back to
Bagram?
That we may have access to Bagram in Afghanistan, which really is a spy center to China.
Yeah, our listening post.
Yeah.
How would that be for a tactical move?
Yeah.
I mean, I was disgusted when we gave it up. Can you imagine if we got back into it now?
Yeah.
We hear these little rumors, and next thing you know, they become a reality. So, I think it's going to be something very interesting to watch.
But one of the things Trump has done, while there'll never be another Trump, right? We'll have winning in the future, not like this. What Trump has done is change the expectation that the American people have for the American government. So other politicians aren't going to be able to be mediocre people that are doing the bidding of the donors. It's just not going to fly in the future.
No. I do think the third term will be a reality. There's going to be a push for that, I think. The results Trump is getting, he's doing things that most people would think are impossible to do.
I think it's all part of the plan. Remember when he talked about making, not only acquiring a portion of Canada, but making Wayne Gretzky the prime minister?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Go.
Yes.
Gretzky's been.
I think a lot of countries would like to be the next state now. Yeah.
Well,
it's amazing to watch, but I think Greenland, is going to be on board too. Tactical moves, brilliant moves, and just global brilliant moves that we're seeing.
Mm-hmm.
But the Bogdan thing really caught my attention. I just heard in the background, but I said, "Are you kidding me? Are we going to do a deal to get
I heard that too, but I don't know that that's true. It's why I haven't mentioned it.
I didn't get a follow up on it. That was why I did. But
who would you do that
something
deal
to watch in the future.
The Taliban, I guess. Trump might the Taliban.
Yeah. That would be something to see.
Yeah. And they're afraid of Trump, right? Remember he shows the picture of the guy's house to him and all that?
Well, didn't we send Raising Cane? Do they are familiar with Raising Cane? Was he the one? Was it ISIS or Taliban he wiped out?
ISIS.
Yeah, ISIS.
All right, listen, I got to run, but good to hear from you. Take care.
Guys.
Take care. All right, now listen, we're out of time for today, but you know what tomorrow is? It's Open MAGA Mike Friday. Friday's show was Open Phones. We call it Open MAGA Mike Friday, and on Friday's show, you can call in about any and everything on your mind. You're not limited to the things that Steve and I bring up, but that's tomorrow, starting at 6 a.m. You're listening to the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. My name is Brian Craig. Steve Kane, of course, has been here. Those of you on hold, stand by because tomorrow's just 21 hours away until the next show. We'll see you tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. All right, guys. I got to run because I got to take my kittens to get clipped. But thanks for watching. If you're new, make sure that you subscribe. My name's Brian. This is where MAGA comes to talk. Take care.